Hello, this is Mahmudul Hassan, a student from Segi University, Kota, Damansara. I'm a student from Segi University and currently I'm enrolling the BBM Year 3 Semester 2. This is a subject named Strategic and Change Management, and the presentation is coming out from this subject. And I have already chosen a company named Apple, and I'm gonna just presenting out the competitive environment of the organization Apple, as well as I will give some recommendation based on the suitability, acceptability, and the feasibility to compete well for the organization like Apple. So let's get started. Yes, the first page is the introduction. Before going through the Apple company and other things, at first let's take a brief on the Apple introduction. The Apple is an American multinational technological company which is firstly built by the Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and the Ronald Wayne in 1976. It is known as the multinational technological company, which is now headquartered in California, America. The main purpose of this company is to design the technology, hardware, and the software as well. Currently, they have different products such as the like Apple Watch, Apple Movie, Apple TV, MacBook computer, iPad, iPod, and of course the most famous one, the Apple iPhone. So in the brief history, if we see that the company started from 1976, where the partner Wozniak and the other partner named Ronald Wayne started their first innovation called the Apple One PC. But after 12 days, somehow Wozniak um, he sold his share to the Mr. Steve Jobs, and then he came out from the industry. And after that, after the 1980, one by one, all the partners from this Apple company, they all have gone out from the company, and now currently the CEO and the chairman is only one person, and that is the Steve Jobs, who is now running successfully the company in America and throughout the world. It has a very glorious times of its time, even still it is growing through, but there are some problems, issues also existed by some people around the world. For example, the price, the overprice strategy, and the limitation of softwares, the monopoly, the ecosystem of software. For example, like the person who use the Mac cannot use the other devices, etc., etc. So there are many things which needs to be discussed, and the competitions which the Apple company currently facing in this age. So next one is the competitive environment, which I'm gonna describe. The competitive environment, firstly known as the Porter's five forces model, which are one by one is bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes, and industry rivalry. This competitive environment is actually analyzing by these five terms. But in this case study, I'm gonna presenting out the most important part, which is only done for this one, and that is the competitive environment, which is like the existing rivalry. Among five terms, I'm just gonna presenting the degree of the competition of Apple company which they are facing now. For the company right now facing the challenges from various competitors. So in one case, if we need to see, if we categorize the competition from Apple to others, or from others to Apple, we can categorize by three terms. The first one, high aggressiveness of firms, low differentiation of products, and the low switching cost. Now I'm gonna presenting each and every term one by one in the next slides. The high aggressiveness of firms. Well, there are many like companies such as Samsung, Huawei. They are aggressively competing with the Apple, as because um, Apple is known as one of the expensive device manufacturing in the world. At the same time, their quality, the built-in quality, their processor, their apps, all things are quite. They used to be very qualified and very attractive for the consumers when they firstly started their iPhone series. For example, they have attracted many consumers, and they have taken so many markets around the world. And those time, it was the time for Nokia, BlackBerry, and other companies. But now currently, if we see the Samsung and Huawei, these are the companies, and other many more companies which are competing with Apple in terms of giving their hardware, best hardware, upgrading their innovations and technology, as well as inventing new apps, going through the Android and cultivating new apps. So they are now trying to reach at the qualified and the best level, the premium level they are trying to reach. And almost, if we see the latest brand of Samsung and Huawei, they have already reached that position where the Apple company is now currently going. So in their manufacturing, phone manufacturing industry, which is very popular for the Apple, and which is known popular for the Apple, for why the Apple is known very famous for, is for their iPhone, the phone devices. So basically, if we see the many more competitors like them, they are processing to reach their premium level. Same time, they are also imitating their concept, themes, patterns, and the way they build their chipset and the internal GPU or CPU, the internal technological tools. For example, if I say back to the 2012, if we read the journal, there is a complaint against the Samsung, which Apple claimed that this company is imitating the concept and the patterns of the devices that the Apple company establishing for the consumers. The new theme, the new patterns are copied by the Samsung. They have claimed, the Apple claimed, and successfully they won their trial, and the Samsung had to pay a big amount for that. But still, these companies still competing, still they are imitating their pattern, the legacy of manufacturing the devices, and also they are trying to make their own ecosystem in order to make a monopoly in the market. For the second one, the low differentiation of products, here we can see the application from the Apple phone, and even the applications from the Android, these are almost like similar. For example, we can use the Facebook app in Apple phone as well as the Android. So this way there are no difference between the Android and the iOS that the Apple use for their phones. Same time, other features such as the augmented reality program, the voice recognition, etc., etc., these opportunities, facilities, and the extra features are also being added by both devices in Apple as well as its competitors like Huawei, Samsung, and others, OnePlus, etc., etc. The Android used to be complained as they have very, suitable position of tackling the viruses. The security issues always being there with the Android, but right now if we see the most updated version when coming, they have come out with the stronger version of operating system for their user. So Samsung and Huawei, they are also going ahead with the Android, with the best supporting Android version, as well as the iOS also doing the great. So in that case also they are also going similar, and there are very less a tiny differentiation between these companies. And sometimes the price range also got the similar as well. Just recently if we see the Huawei Mate 40 Pro, which was released just recently, Samsung Note 20, or even other models, this model of phones are quite expensive, as well as the iPhone 12, iPhone 11, the latest version of Apple that manufactured for the consumers. This way, the competitors actually trying to captivate the market, and they are establishing themselves to the consumers that they are also as premium as Apple. Third one is the low switching cost. Devices with a low price range, it makes also consumer to turn up into the cheap phone, as because they are getting the higher facilities. Whether it is matchable or not doesn't matter for the consumer, but as long as they are getting all the facilities such as the Facebook, social media websites, YouTube, all the gaming facilities, get if they get it soon, they would switch to the low price smartphones, because sometimes the features is also uh, standard in the low price smartphones, or even people become very easier and they can easily expend their money on these kind of phones. For example, like Oppo, Vivo, Redmi, Realme, etc., etc., these kind of smartphones, they are actually um, highlighting their features, their hardwares, their chipset, internal tools, so that they can also coming out with all the features and facilities which they are given even in the very reasonable price. So it's also a concern for the Apple company, as because if they are producing such product, so the people would definitely fallen in buying this kind of product, and they would find these products better than the Apple establishing. So these three were the main reasons why the Apple actually facing the problems, the challenging issues from its competitors. For the next one, the recommendation, it is actually based on the suitability, acceptability, and the feasibility. If we check this based on the suitability, I would like to come up with saying that the Apple should upgrading their device time to time, which they are already doing, as because this is the age where no one can stay without the update, whether it is a software, whether it is a hardware, they have to keep upgrading to the positive level, to the level that people can relate themselves to use such devices, whether it is the smartphones, whether it is the MacBook Pro, whether it is the other electronic devices. And they should also keep their price reasonable, as because most of the people cannot afford the newly launched Apple products, whether it is the computer, phone, iPad, whatever, all the electronic goods that they are manufacturing. When it come in the market, all of them become very very pricey and bit expensive for the people who are earning for their family. It's become very very tough to buy such product, whether it is sometimes become more than their expectation. And they also need to attempt remove their monopoly, as because we all know the Apple is living in an ecosystem, their own ecosystem, where the chips are made by Apple, where the software is also made by Apple. No other company cannot build this kind of software or hardware for themselves. So this kind of monopoly actually make them too much, I can say, discriminated from the other competitors, as because in this age all the companies, all the organizations should collaborate with each other in order to enhance their technological devices and provide the best support to the consumers. Based on the acceptability, they should increase the relation with the consumers, as because it is very important to have the consumers with them. So whenever and whatever they launch for the consumers can easily attract to them, attract to their products and buy their products immediately. Second one is the professional training. The Apple should provide the professional training, good professional training for their employees, as because the employees can imagine how and what are the demands, needs and the wants from the consumers in this age. So if they are well trained, they can easily establish the customer demands for the company, and the company can reach the demands of the consumers. So there is no alternative hope, but professional training is must needed for uh, evaluate the consumers attitudes and their demands as well. Then the market analyzing is also very important. They should keep analyzing the market, when and how the market is behaving and what situation is behaving. It doesn't matter they are going good or bad, but they have to keep analyzing their market, as because it is very important part to go forward and to go longer. For example, in the Nokia, they had a bad experience in the previous market issue. They didn't analyze their market so well. That's why they didn't make any kind of ecosystem or even collaboration system. That's why their Nokia phones become dropped than the imagination. And the last one is the monitoring, which is very important. They have to monitor the all the things are going well or not. If not, then they have to come sit down and need to come out with a new strategy. Based on the feasibility, the recommendation I have drawn here the enhance the CSR activity. CSR, we all know that this is one kind of activity where the company can make their brand value to the consumers, as when they are providing something good to the society, the people of the society also can relate themselves with the organization. This way the company would be attached with the consumers, and so are the people, the consumers. So basically, they should enhance their CSR activities, such as uh, organizing any launch, organizing any um, marathon festival, and etc etc, many things. Or maybe organizing any act which can enhance their social activity, such as running competition or any games competition, etc etc. So this way the company can easily come closer to the consumers, and the consumers can easily attach them with the organization, and it also helps in order to boost up the selling, of the Apple company. Second one is the cost effective product. We all know the from since 1976 the company is facing problem with their cost and everything, because the most of the devices, the electronic goods that made by the company is actually become very 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 high price. So they have to come out with the cost effective product. Cost effective program can make them very very liable and very very um, next to very very this will take them to the next level, where they can easily produce reasonable price devices and electronic goods for the consumer. And the customer retention program, which is very helpful for them, as because the retention program can help them to remain their consumers, their existing consumers, for their company, and they are the ones who can help the company, can help the organization in order to enhance their revenue. In order to enhance their revenue, this kind of activity can work very well. Lastly, the conclusion. So after evaluating the two parts, the competitive environment and the recommendations, in the conclusion I just wanted to say that any organization, it is not easy to survive. There is always a risk, there is always a matter of profit and loss always being there. But once a business start, the organization, the entrepreneurs shouldn't lose their hope and shouldn't have any fear of losing the dignity, as they are the one who are providing the facility, opportunities and the benefits to the consumer in order to get the revenue for the organization as well. So this is a system where the company can earn the profit, as well as they are also serving a good portion of electronic goods or services to the consumer, to the people of the society, so they can also enhance their daily life. No matter what they are achieving in their life, but the same way, when they have the competition, they also need to take that mind that the competitions are the one thing which make an organization stronger. Here are the references which I have cited, and from me, this is all for this presentation. So me, Mahmudul Hassan, student of Segi University, signing off here right now. Thank you.